So as part of this video, what we are going to do is we are going to kind of run an emulation of the M-class CPU. And an emulation essentially is a software that mimics the behavior of CPU, right? So in this case, what we are going to do is we are going to use something called a quick emulator, QEMU. And what it does is it can simulate the Cortex-M class of CPUs. It can emulate essentially. The software will be able to read the binary, read the instructions in memory as if they were for Cortex-M, and then act out the state machine that the actual Cortex-M chip would act out, right? The only difference is the emulator is a software that can act as if it is a CPU. So what I'm going to do then is, have this QEMU consume a binary, and binary is essentially, compiled code, consume this binary, which is meant for Cortex M. And then what we are going to do is attach to this a debugger, right? In this case, GDB. So we'll attach the GDB debugger to this and then kind of, peep inside the CPU and take a look at the registers, right? And recall from, earlier videos, I mentioned that there is also something called a debug model. There was programmer's model, exception model, memory model, and the debug model. So meaning that there is some sort of a debug infrastructure here, again, some software. In this case, QEMU happens to have that, the implementation. So what QEMU does is it exposes port, and on that port, GDB can be attached. And once you attach the GDB, using GDB, we can ask the CPU to kind of, consume one instruction at a time, show the status of the internal registers, and so on and so forth. And this is really a jump, but the idea here is, the key point here is, I want you to take a look at how the CPU looks as seen by the programmer. So let me then get rid of all of this. And what we are going to do for this demonstration, and you can follow along as well, we're going to go to this URL here, which is github.com/google/ESH. And this is like one of the repositories me and a bunch of friends wrote. And this has implementation of the for the M-class CPUs as well. So one of the things that we are going to do is launch a virtual machine, and within that virtual machine, we are going to clone this code and kind of run our experiments there. So to be able to create that virtual machine, we are going to use code spaces, which is what GitHub provides. So GitHub provides a way to create virtual machines. So this code button here, what we are going to then do is click on this, and you will see, code spaces right here. So we are going to click on this plus icon here. And as a result of that, another tab kind of opens up. And in this tab, what you'll see is spawning an environment like VS Code, right? The VS Code ID. And here in this area, we'll see that all the files would be, the repository would be cloned essentially. So all of these are, the same files as we would, as we have here, right? Same thing. So what then we are going to do is go back to, this, and it's opening like the README file here by default. So let me go ahead and close that. All right. So what we are going to do now is we are going to launch this manage and download all the tool chain and some of the software that is required to run our experiment, and that's going to take a while. So the two commands that we'll need, the first one is that we are going to first update the repository here, or update the OS on which this IDE is. So we'll just do sudo apt update. And once we do that, the underlying package manager updates its database. And after that, we're just going to do /manage-s. And this will take a while. So what this is doing is installing a lot of dependencies and software, and essentially enabling the quick emulator software for us. So we'll just wait it out, and what I'll do is fast forward this part. All right, so we have all the software pieces installed now, and now what we have to do is run an example with QEMU and kind of run an example with QEMU running an M-class controller, right, or M-class CPU, emulating an M-class CPU. So then what I will do is, first off, let me get rid of all of this. I'll go, first off, let me show the code. So in the examples, we go to emulation, and there are a lot of different architectures that we have implemented here. We'll go to ARM v7 32-bit. That's what it means. And within that, there is this make file, which kind of is a way to automate things. So what we are going to do is, first off, build this code. And this code is essentially instructions that the CPU is supposed to follow. And then here, if you see, we are kind of, calling this QEMU binary and asking it to, so to speak, emulate the Cortex-M3 processor. And then to that, we are going to pass, some ELF file. And then we are also asking it to expose a port for GDB. Now, we can dive into the details of what these commands are, how I got to know them, and so on and so forth. That's like a very long story. But just trust me at this moment that this would launch a software that is going to act like the Cortex-M3 and consume this ELF file, right, which we will kind of generate. And it will expose a port for GDB. Now, there is another command that launches the GDB, consumes this shell.elf file, which also goes here, by the way, and then it kind of connects on this port to the QEMU. So what we'll now have is GDB looking inside QEMU, which is emulating the Cortex-M3, right? That's the idea. So let me then, first off, put this in full screen. And okay, let's get this out of the way. All right, let me clear. And then what I'll do is go to examples, emulation, okay, ARM v7, okay, M32. So I'm within that. Now what I want you to do is, keep your eye on the files here. As I hit the make command, the code is getting compiled. And this is the code specifically for the Cortex M class of CPUs, right? And as you'll see here, we have the shell.elf, shell.bin, so on and so forth. Now what I'm going to do is clear my screen again, open up another terminal at the same location. That is important. And in one of them, I type make debug. And what make debug would do is it starts the QEMU, right? And it holds the emulated processor in reset, meaning that it's about to start, right? It has not even executed one single instruction. Okay, so then let me again get this out of the way. So when I do make debug, it says, hey, I'm waiting. I want you to execute make GDB. So in another terminal, we do make GDB. And the moment I do that, GDB connects to it, and GDB tells me that, it's kind of in the reset handler. Now I'll explain you this code just briefly. So what's happening is, recall that, we talked about the stack pointer getting loaded and the program counter pointing to, some location. So, okay, I'll briefly explain that. So we explained that, the 0th memory location, so to speak, will have the stack pointer value, the MSP value, and, after that, whatever is the number, that number would be kind of, put into the program counter, right? And this we said was the reset handler, the reset exception handler, right? So what we see here then is that the SP, which is R13, right? And first off, I should have mentioned this earlier, but what you see here is essentially exactly the same registers that we talked about. And that was exactly the view that I wanted you to, take a look at. And hopefully this convinces you that the CPU's view as seen by a programmer is just bunch of registers, right? So the important thing here is we have got R0 through, program counter, and then SP is R13, LR is R14, PC is R15, right? And PC then is having this number F9C, SP is having the number 3FFFC, and my claim is 3FFFC was put here, and the hex F9C was put here. Now, how it was put, what happened, that's like the build magic, and the source code is written in that way. But the key point was that these are the registers, R0 through R15. And if you see here, the CPSR is nothing but the XPSR, which we mentioned is is the union of IPSR, EPSR, and APSR, right? So that is available here. Now the other registers, the interrupt related registers are not shown here, but that's a limitation of GDB in this case. And now what I want to show you is the vector table, and with that we'll conclude this video. All right, so let me then get all of this out of the way. The vector table is implemented under the platform vectors.c, and here if you see, right, so this is the vector table, and again through some build magic, some linker script magic, we put this number exactly at the 0th address, and this reset handler number exactly, or the address of the reset handler exactly at the 4th location. And if you see here, it does say that it's pointing to the reset handler, right? And I'll show you one more thing, which is we have this shell.elf.lst file, which is kind of a mix of assembly and C file. And here, if we let me just grep for reset handler. So if I were to go to the reset handler, it does say F9C, which is exactly what program counter is pointing to. And not only that, but there also has to be a vector table, right? And the vector table, vector underscore table, the vector table is at the 0th address, and the first number here at the 0th address was 3FFF, and the value here is 3FFFC, and the C is because the stack has moved a little bit, right? And then if you see here, it's F. Okay, it is F9D, and you see the program counter is F9C. Now, the reason we read a D here and a C here has to do with the fact that the 0th bit is used to convey, kind of what mode the CPU is operating in. Those are like the details, but rest assured that the last bit here is not pointing to the reset handler. That does not convey the address. We are supposed to ignore it, but F9C is the exact address, right? And I understand that I have, given like a hand wavy explanation, but the idea is that the key thing was set of registers, right? And with this, kind of, we'll conclude our journey for the M-class CPUs, a very rapid fire journey, and hopefully you learned something, and, see you around.